The vast darkness of space stretched endlessly, broken only by the soft blue glow of instrument panels inside the research vessel horizon.
Elena Kim sat quietly, her fingers dancing across holographic displays that flickered with complex data streams. Outside the reinforced windows, distant stars glimmered like scattered diamonds against a velvet black canvas. The ship hummed with a gentle mechanical rhythm, carrying a small research team through the unexplored regions of the Andromeda sector.
Elena was different from typical researchers. She had a military background and a reputation for staying calm under pressure.
Her team respected her not just for her scientific knowledge, but for her unwavering composure.
Jay Park, the ship's navigation specialist, monitored their trajectory.
His young face reflected the soft blue light of the screens, showing concentration and precision. Beside him, Yuna Choi reviewed geological scanning data, her fingers moving quickly across quantum computing interfaces. Suddenly, a strange energy signature appeared on their long-range scanners. It wasn't like anything they had encountered before, a complex quantum resonance that seemed to bend the very fabric of space around it. Elena leaned forward, her eyes narrowing as she analyzed the readings. "Something's approaching," she said quietly, her voice steady and controlled. Jay looked up, his hands already moving to adjust the ship's defensive shields. Yuna stopped her work, her attention fully focused on the emerging anomaly. The unknown object moved with impossible speed.
It wasn't just fast, it seemed to slip between moments, appearing and disappearing in quantum intervals that defied standard physics. Traditional tracking systems would have missed it completely. But not their systems.
Not Elena's advanced sensors. The object resolved into a massive craft. Its design was unlike any known spaceship, part organic, part mechanical, with crystalline structures that seemed to breathe and pulse with an inner light.
The ship didn't look like a typical vessel. It looked alive. "Nara Collective," Elena whispered, recognizing the unique quantum signature. Rumors had circulated among deep space researchers about this mysterious alien civilization. They were known for their scientific curiosity and their complete disregard for individual life. The alien craft moved closer, its movements precise and calculated. Energy fields began to envelop the horizon, not as a weapon, but as a form of examination. It was like being studied under a microscope. Jay's hands moved rapidly over the control panel. "Shields are holding, but they're probing our systems," he reported, his voice tight with controlled tension. Elena knew they had seconds to make a decision. Surrender meant potential scientific study, which could easily translate to vivisection.
Resistance might provoke a more aggressive response.
Her military training kicked in. Quick. Decisive. "Emergency quantum scramble," she commanded. "Activate Protocol Delta 7.
A series of complex quantum encryption codes began flooding their systems, designed to make their ship temporarily unreadable to external scanning.
It was a desperate move, developed during covert military research programs.
But the Nara were faster. Before the encryption could fully activate, a powerful energy beam locked onto their vessel.
It wasn't a weapon. It was something more precise.
A capture field that began to draw the horizon closer to the alien craft.
Elena felt a strange calm.
She had trained for scenarios like this. Her body was prepared. Her mind was ready. "Prepare for potential boarding," she told her team.
No panic. No fear. Just pure, focused preparation.
The last thing she saw before the quantum capture field fully engaged was the alien ship, a living machine that seemed to breathe with an intelligence far beyond human comprehension.
Then everything went white.
Their journey was about to change everything they understood about human survival. Elena's consciousness slowly returned, fragmenting like broken glass. Bright white light flooded her vision, so intense it burned. Her body felt heavy, trapped in a strange stillness that seemed to pulse with alien rhythms. She was inside a chamber unlike anything human technology had ever created. The walls weren't made of metal or composite materials, but something that looked alive, breathing, shifting, with surfaces that changed color and texture with each passing moment. Thin crystalline tendrils moved around her, acting like both mechanical restraints and living sensors. The Nara researchers observed her with emotionless precision.
They weren't like typical alien depictions from human science fiction.
These beings looked more like complex biological machines, semi-transparent bodies with internal systems that glowed and pulsed, their form constantly shifting between solid and liquid states.
Subject stabilized, a mechanical voice announced. The language wasn't spoken, but transmitted directly into her mind, a quantum communication that bypassed traditional audio signals.
Elena's military training had prepared her for potential capture scenarios, but nothing could truly prepare someone for the reality of alien scientific examination. Her body was secured by energy fields that felt both physical and ethereal, preventing even the slightest movement. Around her, complex instruments began their work.
Nanoprobes smaller than human cells started mapping her biological structure.
Each probe carried quantum computing capabilities, analyzing her DNA, cellular structure, neural pathways, and physiological responses with terrifying accuracy. The Nara were not interested in communication.
They were pure researchers, viewing biological entities as complex systems to be understood, dissected, and catalogued.
Emotions, individual rights, personal dignity, these concepts meant nothing to them.
Elena's metabolism began to change. She could feel her body responding to the alien environment, heart rate fluctuating, neural pathways firing in unusual patterns.
The restraints weren't just physical, they were manipulating her biological systems at a quantum level. Her mind remained sharp. Years of specialized training had given her mental techniques to maintain focus under extreme stress. She observed her own physiological changes, analyzing them with a detached scientific curiosity that matched the Nara's approach. The first series of tests were relatively mild. Complex energy fields scanned her body, measuring everything from cellular regeneration rates to neural response times. But Elena knew this was just the beginning. The Nara were known for pushing experimental subjects to their absolute limits.
A new set of instruments descended.
They looked like living metal, flexible, intelligent tools that seemed to think and adapt as they moved. One probe began extracting microscopic tissue samples, another started measuring her body's quantum entanglement properties. Pain was inevitable. But pain was also data.
Elena understood this better than most.
Her breathing remained controlled. Her heart rate, though elevated, showed remarkable stability. The Nara researchers noted this with what might have been curiosity, if such beings could experience such an emotion.
Hours passed. Or was it minutes? Time seemed different inside this alien chamber. Each moment stretched and compressed, following rules that human physics couldn't explain. The tests became more intense.
Energy pulses that would have killed an ordinary human barely made Elena flinch.
Her enhanced biotechnological implants, a secret military development, were beginning to respond, adapting to the alien environment in ways even she didn't fully understand. The Nara continued their work. Silent. Precise. Relentless.
They were about to discover that humans were far more remarkable than any of their previous research subjects. Elena Kim was about to become their most unexpected experiment. And neither she nor the Nara knew exactly what was coming next. The chamber pulsed with strange energies.
Elena's body had reached its absolute limit.
The Nara researchers observed her physiological breakdown with clinical detachment, recording every microscopic change in her cellular structure. 37 minutes of continuous stress had pushed her beyond human endurance.
Her heart rate dropped. Oxygen levels became critical.
Cellular degradation accelerated at an impossible speed.
Then she died. Not a peaceful death. Not a dramatic collapse.
Just a simple, clinical cessation of all biological functions.
The Nara researchers stopped their instruments.
They had seen death countless times across multiple species.
But something about this human felt different. Her body didn't behave like any previous subject.
Deep within Elena's neural network, a classified military biotechnology implant began to activate. It wasn't just a piece of technology. It was a quantum survival mechanism designed by the most advanced human research teams.
The implant recognized total systemic failure. Quantum regeneration protocols initiated. First, microscopic nanobots within her bloodstream began reconstructing damaged cellular structures. They didn't just repair, they reimagined. DNA strands rewove themselves. Damaged neural pathways reconnected with enhanced complexity. The Nara watched in growing confusion. Their advanced scanning equipment showed impossible readings. A subject that was clinically dead was somehow rebuilding itself. Elena's body temperature started rising. Not gradually, but in sudden quantum leaps. Her skin began to shimmer with an inner light, like something was burning from inside her cellular structure. The quantum resurrection wasn't just healing. It was transformation. Nerve endings reconstructed themselves with enhanced sensitivity. Muscle fibers developed microscopic quantum entanglement capabilities. Her basic human biology was becoming something entirely new. The Nara researchers stepped back. Their transparent bodies shifted with what might have been surprise if such beings could experience emotion. One critical signal kept repeating in their quantum communication network: anomaly detected. Subject not following standard biological failure protocols. Elena's eyes were still closed. Her body lay motionless. But beneath the surface, a revolutionary reconstruction was happening. Her military implant had been designed for extreme survival scenarios. Quantum regeneration. Adaptive cellular restructuring. Complete system reboot. But no one had ever expected it to work this perfectly. 60 seconds after clinical death, her heart started beating. Not with the weak pulse of recovery, but with a strong, powerful rhythm that seemed to pulse with quantum energy. Her first breath wasn't a gasp. It was a statement. The Nara researchers realized something fundamental had changed. This wasn't just a human anymore. This was a new form of biological intelligence. Elena's eyes opened. They were different. Not just in color or focus. They carried a depth that suggested she had seen something beyond normal human perception. The quantum resurrection was complete. And everything was about to change. Elena's body moved differently now. Each step carried a precision that wasn't human, wasn't alien, it was something entirely new. Her muscles responded to signals that didn't come from normal biological pathways. Quantum energy rippled beneath her skin, invisible but powerful. The Nara research facility suddenly felt small. Containment systems that seemed impenetrable moments ago now looked like fragile constructions. Elena's transformed consciousness perceived multiple dimensional layers simultaneously. She could see energy flows, structural weaknesses, quantum entanglement points that normal beings couldn't comprehend. Her neural implant had done more than just resurrect her. It had completely rewritten her biological operating system. Where humans typically use 3 to 5% of their brain capacity, Elena now accessed computational pathways that spread across multiple quantum states. The first Nara guard approached her. Its crystalline body shifted, preparing defensive protocols. Elena didn't move aggressively. She simply adjusted reality around her. A quantum field rippled. The guard's molecular structure momentarily destabilized. Not destroyed. Just reconfigured. It collapsed without violence, its complex systems temporarily scrambled. Elena walked forward. Walls that should have blocked her path became permeable. Energy barriers designed to stop any intruder simply adapted. Her quantum signature was rewriting local physical laws. Her memories remained intact. She remembered her mission. Her team. The research vessel Horizon. But those memories were now filtered through a consciousness that understood reality as a flexible construct. The research facility's core systems began to react. Defensive protocols activated. Quantum locks engaged. Experimental containment fields powered up. None of them mattered. Elena moved like liquid thought. Not running. Not walking. Transitioning between spatial points with a logic that defied traditional movement. Each step was a quantum calculation, each breath a recalibration of local physical rules.
Nara researchers watched in pure scientific fascination.
Their entire civilization was built on research, on understanding complex biological systems.
But this human, this transformed being, was something entirely outside their comprehension.
Alarms began to sound. Not mechanical sounds, but quantum frequency disruptions that translated across multiple communication spectrums.
The facility was responding to a threat it couldn't properly categorize.
Elena's transformation wasn't just physical.
Her consciousness had expanded beyond traditional human limitations.
She could perceive multiple potential futures simultaneously, could understand complex system interactions at a glance.
The military biotechnology implant had been designed as a last resort survival mechanism. No one had anticipated it would work this perfectly.
No one had expected a human to become something more.
She reached a central control chamber. Massive quantum computing systems surrounded her. Complex data streams that would have overwhelmed any normal human brain became simple, readable information to her enhanced consciousness.
With a thought, she began accessing the facility's complete research database. Decades of experimental data, collected from hundreds of species, downloaded into her consciousness in milliseconds.
The Nara had thought they were studying her.
In reality, she was now studying them. Quantum energy began to build around her body. Not as a weapon. Not as a threat.
But as a natural extension of her new existence. The very fabric of local reality seemed to bend and shift in response to her presence.
This wasn't just human survival anymore. This was human evolution.
And the universe was about to learn a fundamental lesson about underestimating humanity's potential.
Elena Kim,
no longer just a researcher, no longer just human, continued her journey through the alien facility.
Each step was a statement. Each breath was a revolution.
The transformation was complete. The Nara facility trembled.
Not from explosions. Not from traditional weapons.
But from quantum disruptions that Elena's transformed consciousness generated with each passing moment. She moved through corridors like a living wave of potential energy. Walls that should have blocked her path became transparent. Security systems designed to stop any intruder simply reconfigured themselves around her presence. Her thoughts were calculations. Her movements were quantum equations.
Each step rewrote the local physics of the environment.
The Nara researchers realized too late what was happening.
This wasn't an escape. This was a complete systemic deconstruction of their most secure research facility.
Quantum data streams poured out of the facility's core systems. Decades of illegal experimental research, documentation of countless species studied, tortured, and discarded began transmitting across multiple communication spectrums.
Elena's military implant wasn't just sending this data. It was broadcasting a message.
A warning to every potential alien civilization watching: humanity was not a species to be underestimated.
Facility sections began to collapse. Not through physical destruction, but through quantum destabilization.
Entire research wings simply ceased existing, their molecular structures redistributed across multiple dimensional layers.
The Nara tried to respond. Their most advanced defensive systems activated. Quantum barriers. Energy disruption fields. Molecular reconstruction protocols. Nothing worked. Elena moved like liquid thought.
Her consciousness had expanded beyond human limitations. She could see multiple potential futures, understand complex system interactions with a single quantum-enhanced glance.
Her body was no longer just biological.
It was a living computational system that could interact with reality itself.
The facility's central core began to break down.
Not from external damage, but from internal quantum reconfiguration. Complex research systems that had taken decades to build started dissolving like morning mist.
Alarms sounded across multiple frequency bands. But these weren't mechanical warnings.
They were quantum frequency disruptions that translated complex failure signals across different dimensional layers. In less than 17 minutes, the entire Nara research facility would be nothing more than a quantum memory.
Elena's transformed consciousness carried something beyond revenge. This was a message. A statement about humanity's potential. A demonstration that biological limitations were just temporary constraints. She reached the facility's main transmission center. Massive quantum computing systems surrounded her. Complex data streams that would have overwhelmed any normal human brain became simple, readable information to her enhanced perception. With a thought, she began final system transmissions. Complete research databases. Experimental records. Proof of the Nara Collective's systematic biological research violations. The human authorities would receive everything. Outside the facility, space itself seemed to ripple. Local quantum fields bent and twisted in response to her presence. The very fabric of reality acknowledged her transformed state. When Elena finally emerged, the entire complex behind her was a quantum shadow, a place that had existed, but no longer maintained physical coherence. Her transformation was complete. The message was sent. Humanity had just demonstrated its most powerful weapon, the ability to evolve beyond expected limitations. The universe would remember this moment.